Congratulations, everybody.
Is that a hard yes? Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Whitehall City Council meeting of Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. If you would all please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call roll?
Dixon.
Present.
Brown.
Present.
Elmore. Morrison.
Present.
Heck.
Present.
Smith.
Present.
Parkar. Present. President Porter.
Present. At this time, I take a motion to excuse the absent member.
I move to motion the absence.
I'll second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Brown, second by Ms. Harkar to excuse the absent member. Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you please call roll?
Dixon.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Elmore. Morrison.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Parkar.
Yes.
President Porter.
I do not get a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
First time.
You'll get there. Under approval of minutes, we've got two sets this evening. First is the May 7th, 2024 agenda and regular meeting minutes, as well as the May 14th, 2024 agenda and committee meeting minutes.
President Potter, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Dixon, second by Mr. Brown for the approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Parkar.
Yes.
The minutes have been accepted. Now we'll move on to our standing committee reports. First being Administration and Financial Management. Chairperson Elmore is not with us this evening, but Mr. Morrison has offered to take her place.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration of Financial Management met last week. We have several pieces of legislation up for consideration this evening, and we'll meet again next week sometime after 6:30.
Thank you. Community and Elder Advocacy, Chairperson Harkar.
Yes, thank you, President Potter. Community and Elder Advocacy also met last week. There's no pending legislation, and we will meet again next week sometime after 6:30.
Thank you. Community Standards Enforcement, Chairperson Smith.
Thank you, President Potter. Community Standards and Enforcement also met last week. We have 5 pieces of legislation for public hearing and vote tonight. Our minutes are on file, and we'll meet again next week.
Very good. Economic Development, Chairperson Dixon.
Thank you, President Potter. Economic Development met last week. Our minutes are on file. We have no drafts or pending legislation on the agenda tonight, and we will meet next week after 6:30.
Thank you. Infrastructure, Maintenance, and Services, Chairperson Brown.
Thank you, President Potter. Infrastructure, Maintenance, and Services met last week. Our minutes are on file. We have no drafts or pending legislation, and we'll meet again next week sometime after 6:30 on Tuesday.
Very good. Thank you. Public Safety, Chairperson Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Safety also met last week. Our minutes are on file, and we'll meet again next week sometime after 6:30.
Very good. And finally, Parks and Recreation, Chairperson Heck.
Thank you, President Potter. Parks and Recreation met last Tuesday. Our minutes are on file. We have no legislation on the agenda tonight, and we will meet again this coming Tuesday after 6:30.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to official reports. First being Mayor Bivens.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council, everyone that's here this evening. I just want to publicly thank council again, as well as the public, for attending the city tax budget discussion on Saturday. It was a great experience. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from staff and administration, so we're looking forward to getting that done. There are, and I want to just alert council as well as the members of the public, I have successfully completed 2 steps towards Whitehall being the first designated juvenile court in a municipality in the state of Ohio, to the city attorney's to rest his kind heart. Thankfully, the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court will and have made the agreement to potentially be the administrator and actually bring a dedicated magistrate to do that, so you don't have to worry about the mayor being the one that's going to administrate those cases. But so that the public is aware, our current zip code 43213 is the second highest juvenile arrest zip code in Franklin County for abuse, neglect, and dependency cases. So what I envisioned and what is being agreed upon in some of our from some of our community partners is that if we were able to bring those cases to our city, in our jurisdiction, that not only would we be handling them at home, we would then be able to wrap around the services with our community partners to actually facilitate not only the diversion and not only the assistance that the juveniles need, but also able to do wraparound services to the families that are also affected by any of these things. And so this is a major step. I wanted to speak it. I don't care about jinxing it, because I really do think it's going to happen in the city, and I'm really excited about that. Next, as you know, I made the announcement at the State of the City that we were going to create a job fair and do a party with the purpose at our food truck festival. Well, in anticipation of that, we're going to open up City Hall on June 21st for a first job fair that we're going to host here at City Hall. We're planning on doing them once a month. We're getting community partners that are already making the commitment. So mark your calendars for June the 1st. We'll do our first City of Whitehall job fair here at City Hall, and the dates and the times will follow. Last but certainly not least, as you would see on our Facebook page for June the 8th, 2024, we do a lot of serious things in the City of Whitehall. We take care of a lot of serious matters, and a lot of the things that we do are very, very serious. And on that day, I have to say that a serious matter will occur, and I am here tonight to issue a challenge to you, President Potter, because we are going to have our very first kickball tournament of all the citywide departments, from the mayor's office to council, and I'm challenging you, President Potter, to get your council members together to field the team. If you have to do a special meeting, just put on the agenda. You will get beat by the mayor's office that day. The city attorneys may want to be on my team, but he's not allowed. He can get his own team. The only one that I will allow to be on my team is the treasurer, Shaquille Alexander, because he's just by himself, but I have a feeling that he might be able to bring his own team. I'm so thankful to see Karen Connison here, because I am challenging the Community Celebration Association as well. Come on out on June the 8th. I'm bringing a grill. I'm bringing coolers. It's going to be a fun time. It will be a fun time had by all. I'm challenging the community to come out. You are welcome to have a team. It is three-run rule. We'll run it as long as it takes. 3 runs win. So that means the coin toss is going to be important. We're thinking about doing it in rock, paper, scissors. Whoever gets the coin toss, you get 3 runs, you win, you move on. That's the rule. I have a feeling the mayor's office is going to be out there all day. In fact, police department, you've been challenged. Fire department, you've been challenged. Right here, baby. June 8th.
So Mayor, what time and what park?
Registration starts at 11:30
And where?
at John Bishop Park.
Bishop, okay.
Right at the Ball Diamond, right at the center. We're going to do grills and what else? Coolers, and if we can get a day Dora, that would.
Working on a day
If we can get a day Dora, that would be great.
Get that done.
But in the meantime, we have the kickball. The challenge has been issued, President Potter. We'll see how good of a leader you are in getting your team out.
Okay, no pressure there. No pressure. So my last question is, how many people per team? What is the
There's
score?
no number for the size of team. You bring out as many people that you want to have on your team.
Okay.
If you want to dress up, I'm already getting my team to agree to a 70s theme, so nobody take that. And I'm talking about headbands and long tube socks and Converses. But that is going to happen on June the 8th. We're going to have fun in the City of Whitehall. All of the community should come out. You'll be able to meet all of the city staff that field their own team, but community members, if you want to be on the mayor's team, you're welcome to be on that. You'll be on the winning team if that's the case. And then, just come out and have a good time. We'll have kickball from 11:30 on and have a good time in our park together.
I just wish you had some confidence to go with that.
A little enthusiasm.
All right, so challenge issued. I hear challenge is accepted. Let's do it on June the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor. Not sure about the costumes, but we'll one step at a time. Anything further?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Top that one. Thank you. City Attorney Nicodemus.
I don't know how to top that. No, I'll just give council a quick heads up. I'm trying to get it ready for next committee meeting to discuss. I'll have an ordinance moving some money within the city attorney fund for some couple of things, some personnel stuff, and then in particular, we've been looking at some software. You've been hearing me for months now give the numbers of increasing costs. We have more officers, we have more cases, but we actually have a staff that's one smaller than it was last year. So we do paperless prosecution, meaning everything's digital, which helps a lot. It's a system I developed years ago. Works well, but when we couple that with other systems we have to interface with and some access problems to our docketing system that we've had recently, it was kind of the kick in the pants for us to seriously evaluate a software package that does everything we need, from discovery to docket management, keep our case files, and puts it all in one location. It's not as expensive as I anticipated, and so I'm looking at the budget to try to move things around. We don't actually have a line item for software in our budget. It's all been personnel, so I'm trying to play around with what's already been appropriated so that hopefully I don't have to ask for a new appropriation, just moving the money around to make it work. But just give you a heads up, I'm trying to get that for the next committee meeting so that we can have more discussion on it if you need it at the time, and then get that progressed so that I could get the software company engaged to start the transition process. So that's all I have for now.
Okay, well, thank you. City Auditor Quinsel.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I was probably a really good kickball player at East Main Street Elementary School. However, I haven't played in 58 years, and as luck would have it, I will be in Myrtle Beach that day anyway. So I'll be thinking about you all while I have my feet in the sand. That said, I would ask for favorable consideration on ordinances 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42, 2024.
I thank you. Director of Public Service, Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Of all the very important things that I have to do here, the thing that I lose sleep over is letting him down in this kickball tournament. That's it, right? No, I want to also thank council for Saturday. That was a very fun exercise, I think, and very informative and helpful for all of us directors, especially us new ones. So thank you for not being too hard on us and letting us do that. I don't have much else, just requesting favorable consideration for ordinances 019, 020, 022, 023, 031, and also resolution 011 and 014. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Public Service, Greg is not with us this evening. Treasurer Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Mayor, I hate to disappoint, but I have a luncheon on the 8th, so I will not be able to join your team. That I would have jumped at the opportunity. I have full confidence that you will be victorious.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For the month of April, the city had $5.2 million in revenue, $6 million of payments cleared. Finished the month with $32.8 million in the bank with an average yield of 4.76%. And I echo the auditor's comments requesting favorable consideration on ordinances 37 through 42. Thank you.
And thank you. The following official reports have been filed in the council office since our last meeting, and that would include the Treasurer's revised report for January 2024, the Treasurer's report for February 2024, and the Treasurer's report for March 2024. Under communications, petitions, and claims, we have two items. First being the notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for the transfer of a D1, D2, D3, D3A, and D6 license from Ashburn Belene, and I apologize if I am butchering that, DBA Mini Ethiopian Coffee House and Carryout, 195 and 201 South Hamilton Road and Patio, Whitehall, Ohio, 43213, to Mini Ethiopian Coffee House and Carryout LLC, DBA Mini Ethiopian Coffee House and Carryout and Patio, 195 and 201 South Hamilton Road, Whitehall, Ohio, 43213. The second item is the May 2nd, 2024 Planning Commission meeting minutes. Next, we have got actually 5 public hearings. This is the most that I think that I have done in my tenure up here in one evening. And so the first is going to be ordinance 19-2024, amending section 1109.04 titled Community Gardens and Urban Agriculture of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Whitehall, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. So I'll now open this public hearing on ordinance 19-2024 at 7:15. And please ask the applicants to come forward and please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. So I will do my best. Walt usually does these, but I'll give it a try. Director Thomas, you don't need my address.
Okay. We know where you work.
Yeah. So 019 here kind of has a dual role. First being removing redundant and conflicting sections that are already in the code, as well as striking a part of the code about beekeepers. The redundancy is with the fowl. It's already covered in a section, so we're just striking it so it's not contradictory. And then also removing the restrictions for the beekeepers in the city.
Thank you. As far as a staff report, I do know this went through planning, and actually I think all 5 of these were unanimously approved
passed, yep.
by that. Is there any, would like to come forward and have an opinion on this? Okay. Does anybody on council have anything? Okay. Are there any opponents who would like to come forward? Okay. I will now ask the clerk, have you received anything in the clerk's office? Any correspondence about this ordinance?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, if there are no further comments, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 19-2024 at 7:17. I will now move on to ordinance 20-2024, amending chapter 1113 titled Landscaping Code of the City of Whitehall, codified ordinances by implementing a landscape maintenance requirement and declaring an emergency. So at this time, I'll now open the public hearing on ordinance 20-2024 at 7:17, and we'll ask the applicant to once again come forward.
So this is requesting the addition back of a part of the code that was unintentionally removed. That code is for landscape maintenance, which states landscape materials shall be maintained in a neat and orderly manner. Maintenance and installation, all landscaping materials shall be installed in a sound and competent manner according to accepted goods construction and planting procedures. The owner of the property shall be responsible for the continued proper maintenance of all landscaping materials, including but not limited to grass, ground cover, trees, shrubs, and tree lawn plantings along the property frontage, and shall keep them in a proper, healthy, neat, and orderly appearance, free of refuse and debris at all times.
Thank you. And again, let's make another blanket statement. All 5 of these were unanimously approved by the Planning Commission, so I'm not keep saying that each time. Is there any comments from council? Are there any opponents who would like to speak on behalf of this? Are there any opponents? Hearing none? Well, actually, no. I'll ask the clerk, have you received any correspondence in the office regarding this?
Not at this time.
Nothing. Okay, thank you. If there are no further comments, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 2024 and move on to ordinance 22-2024, amending chapter 1115 titled Outdoor Lighting, Code of the City of Whitehall, codified ordinances, and declaring an emergency. So I'll now open the public hearing on ordinance 22-2024 at 7:19. Once again, ask the applicant to please speak to this.
Yep, so this is another section that was unintentionally removed and needs to be reinstated. It's section 115.03, outdoor lighting, which reads, in any use district where outdoor lighting is provided, such lighting shall be arranged so as to reflect away from adjoining properties and any public street or highway.
Thank you. Again, staff report, I've already covered that. Are there any additional comments from council?
I would say that I'm probably one of the reasons this was brought up, and something that I noticed in the community was for many, many years, lighting on the buildings was either a tall lamp post which shone the light down onto the parking lot, or the light itself shone on the building, or it was on the building and it came out and shone back on the building. But I've noticed more and more and more, particularly with these awful LED lights, that people are putting them on their business on the front of the building, shining out into the street. And it's such a glare. There was one on Robinwood Avenue. It was so intense, I thought, someone's going to get in a wreck, because it's just blinding. So that was one of the reasons that I'm a proponent of this particular piece of legislation. And that's certainly one of the reasons that it came up, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Any other comments on council? Anybody in the public like to, any proponents? Come forward. Any opponents? Clerk, was there any notification sent to council office? No. Okay. There's no further comments. I will close the public hearing on ordinance 22-2024 at 7:20. Moving right along, ordinance 23-2024, amending chapter 1111 titled Parking, Loading, and Drive-Throughs of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Whitehall and declaring an emergency. So I will now open a public hearing on 23-2024 at 7:21, and please ask the applicant to speak to this.
Again, another unintentionally removed part of the code. This one is for portable storage units. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but this is just to reinstate that folks are allowed to get portable storage unit portable storage unit permits. They can do a 7-day or 14 days over the year.
Thank you. Is there anyone on council who's got any comments on this? Are there any proponents who'd like to speak in favor of this? Are there any opponents who'd like to speak against this? Clerk, is there any notification to council office?
No, this time.
Okay, thank you. Since there are no further comments, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 23-2024 at 7:22. Our last public hearing is going to be on ordinance 31-2024, making updates to Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code, Title 1 through Title 15 of the Whitehall Codified Code to replace all instances of city administrator to director of public service as outlined in Exhibit A. So at this time, I will now open a public hearing on ordinance 31-2024 at 7:22, and please ask the applicant once again.
Sure. So January 1st, the city administrator position no longer existed in the city, so it broke down into the director of public service and the economic development director. So all instances in our code that state city administrator no longer work. So we are asking that the director of public service be put in its place.
Pretty straightforward. Any comments of council on this? Any proponents who would like to come forward and speak to this? Any opponents who would like to come forward and speak on this? Has there been any comments made to the council office?
No, this time, no.
Okay, thank you. Wanted to ask. Okay, if there's no further comments on this, I'm going to close the public hearing on ordinance 31-2024 at 7:23. This now brings us to our first poll public of the evening. I would invite anybody to please come forward. Please state your name. Address is already signed in. I think our folks here have already done that. And you'll have up to 3 minutes, and I would welcome you to come forward.
Hi, Leo Noblock, 353 Fairway Boulevard. I'm here for ordinance number 11. What's wrong with the original flag? It has 3 symbols on it: schools, church, and community. That's what we are, a city. What we have now is a marketing ploy. That's all it is. What's wrong with our original flag? That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. strange seeing you on the other side.
It's very strange being on the other side. And I don't usually bring notes. Karen Coniston, 958 Carl Street. But I brought notes only because I have definitions from the dictionary rather than from the dictionary. Figured it made sense. Back in 2012, when I first got on council, is when they went ahead and they brought in a marketing and advertising group called Creative Spot. The reason I know this so well is because I'm still working with them today, with the place of my employment. What they do, and they do it very, very well, is they do advertising and they do marketing. They take something that could use a little bit of finesse and they put it in there. Whether it's logo, whether it's a website, whether it's a brand, whatever it might be. So when we sat down to go ahead and do, and as it was called, was an initiative. It was not called rebranding. There was no talk of changing a flag. It was literally just an initiative. I'm on board with initiatives. I'm on board with new ideas. I'm on board with change. However, when we came up with this, we wanted to go ahead and we wanted to come up with something that was going to attract new business, that was going to attract people that want to come into the city. And I think we did a very good job. I mean, opportunities here. I mean, who doesn't want to come where there's opportunity, right? I mean, that's a great tagline. My first definition. What is a tagline? It serves to clarify a thought for or is designated from a form of dramatic effect. An example of a tagline. Just do it. Who is that? Nike. Finger licking good. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Those are taglines. Opportunities here. Tagline. Tagline to Whitehall. So again, we weren't told that this was going to change the flag. We were just told that this was going to go ahead and attract, bring business, attract more people here. It's done its job. It's a great advertising. It looks perfect on print. It is for print. It is for the opportunity guide. It's fine to put on a small flag. It's fine to go ahead and promote. However, what does that tell you? In 2012, the red one, the green one, and the blue one all had a meaning. I ask you, mayors, can you tell me what those meanings are? You cannot? I cannot because I don't remember it. I know that it had something to do with bringing the community together, but each one of those colors actually represented something. And I was on board with that. I like that representation. I like that collaboration. I like the way that the W landed together for collaboration. But now it has no meaning to me because I don't even remember what it was designed for. Opportunity.
Hey, Karen, we're getting close on time.
Okay, I will wrap it up here.
Okay.
A good position, chance, or prospect, as for advancement or success. Pride, pleasure that comes from some relationship, association, achievement, or possession that is seen as a source of honor, respect, family. I like the two of those together. I like that opportunity, and I like that pride. I'm not going to tell you how to go ahead and vote. I like the two of them together. I do really like the idea of keeping our flag, the flag, and using that as what it was intended for print, for advertisement.
Well, hi there, elected officials and others who work for the administration. Jim Graham, 644 Greenwood Road, Whitehall. boy, Karen's a hard one to follow. So, those colors do represent something. I don't remember what they were, but the red represents one thing, the green something, and the blue something else. The thing is, when you look at this Whitehall City flag, the current one, you see a school, you see a house, and it says Pride, City of Pride. You can tell what the flag represents. There's no words that tell you what that one represents. Now, I know you all have a bunch of prototypes that you can look at, and I don't know what they are, but my guess is not one of them has a word under the red, under the green, and under the blue that tells everybody what it means. So, you guys have a decision to make. And you got about 14 decisions here before you this evening. Unfortunately, for you, most of the time, you have to make decisions without any input from the city. Residents, throw that in there. Because you did get input from the city. You didn't get anything from the public, let me put it that way. So, when you make your decision regarding your choice of the flag, I ask you to keep in mind that most times when you make decisions here, you make them without any input from the residents of the city of Whitehall. Most of the time people they don't know what's going on, they don't care, whatever. Very few people come over and actually say anything. So, in the words of a very wise person, I'm going to ask you must choose, but you must choose wisely. You all have a great evening.
Thank you.
That's all
Mr. Graham?
That's my.
It just, as you know, we don't normally have a conversation, but if you pick up a piece of there's going to be amendment on this evening, there's not 14 choices, it's one choice.
Okay.
So
I did not know that.
No, that's fair.
I did not see that. I heard from the last meeting that you would have a whole bunch of things. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's correct, but it is landing on one. If you want to pick
Does
up
it have the words on it?
It says City of Whitehall established 1947.
But it doesn't tell you what the red, the green, and the blue represent.
Thank you.
It doesn't say I'm sorry, I should not say that.
Anybody else wish to come forward? Okay. Clerk, would you please call roll as to whether each member of council was given a copy of each item of legislation prior to the meeting, including any add-on legislation?
Yes. Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Thank you. Under third reading, we have ordinance 19-2024, amending section 1109.04 titled Community Gardens and Urban Agriculture of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Whitehall and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 19-2024 and move for the adoption.
Second?
There's been a motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Heck, to introduce ordinance 19-2024 and for its adoption. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Elmore, Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 19-2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 20-2024, amending Chapter 1113 titled Landscaping Code of the City of Whitehall, codified ordinances by implementing a landscape maintenance requirement and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 2024 and move for the adoption.
Second.
There's been a motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Morrison, for the introduction of ordinance 2024 and for its adoption. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
No.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 22-2024, amending Chapter 1115 titled Outdoor Lighting Code of the City of Whitehall, codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 22-2024 and move for its adoption.
Second?
There's been a motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Dixon, to introduce ordinance 22-2024 and for its adoption. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 22, 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 23, 2024, amending Chapter 1111 titled Parking, Loading, and Drive-Throughs of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Whitehall and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 23, 2024, and move for its adoption.
Second.
There's been a motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Dixon, to introduce ordinance 23, 2024, and for its adoption. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ordinance 23, 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 31, 2024, making updates to Part 11, Planning and Zoning Code, Title 1 through Title 15 of the Whitehall Codified Code to replace all instances of the city administrator to Director of Public Service as outlined in Exhibit A.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 31, 2024, and move for its adoption.
Second?
There's been a motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Heck, to introduce ordinance 31, 2024, and for its adoption. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Ordinance 31, 2024 has been adopted. Resolution 11, 2024. A resolution authorizing the adoption of the official flag for the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I wish to introduce Resolution 11, 2024,
You want to amend?
and amend as presented.
Second.
There has been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Dixon, to introduce Resolution 11, 2024 as amended, 521, 2024, and which is, again, authorizing the adoption of the official flag for the city of Whitehall and declaring an emergency. Is there any discussion?
Casey, could you just explain the flag of the,
Emeritus,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So emeritus is when someone or something retires, but you give it the honorable title as an emeritus in remembrance or honor. So they're no longer in service, but they are remembered as an honorable item member of the community. So this will essentially keep the original flag as an honorary member of the city of Whitehall. It can still be purchased if folks want to purchase it. It just will not fly as the official flag of the city.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but it hasn't been flown for a little while now, right? Or am I wrong
Correct.
about that? Okay.
Mhm.
I was just going to say, well, first of all, I appreciate what everyone shared about this amendment, or this resolution specifically. I just wanted to say that, to Jim, your point on the colors, the only point that I would like to make is, when you look at the American flag, right, it has red, white, and blue, and there's no words on it, but we all understand what it represents. So what I would say is, if it's a case that we need to do better at, making sure that everyone understands what those colors represent, then I think that that is, worth mentioning. And I think it's important because, like you said, those colors are supposed to represent something, and I think that that's important. Outside of that, I would just say, as someone who is new to Whitehall, relatively new, this is what I associate with the city of Whitehall. And I'm not saying that this logo, emblem, whatever the case may be, is what attracted me to it, but when I think of Whitehall and the community that I'm proud to live in and serve in, this is what I picture. So with that being said, like I said, I appreciate everything you said, but I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
I just want to clarify, this first vote is simply to amend, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Casey, can you tell us a little bit more about the colors of the flag?
I'm terrible.
I
know.
can.
Can you? Okay,
Yep.
that's great. Thank you. No,
I
you're
know,
fine.
yeah, I wrote it.
I know it's community.
So the red one is for like city service, city services, like civic services, the police, the fire, the other city services. The green is for citizens and then civic organizations. So that would be obviously our citizens, and then like any community organization that is in Whitehall. And then the blue is for businesses and our businesses. And then when they all come together, they form Whitehall. So without one of them, we couldn't have them.
Thank you.
I kind of mix up sometimes the colors a little bit, so that's why.
I think Councilman Brown's, what he shared, I have similar thoughts on that. I think the part that I struggle with is I don't remember the other flag. Like, I've been in Whitehall for almost 20 years. I don't know when that was flown last. I think of this now as what our city flag was, so I was surprised when this even came up, that this hadn't been done, at least several years ago, however long it's been up there. So, to me, I feel like the colors are a better representation. I do think maybe we need to explain those better to people, because the symbols that were used on the original flag, I believe you said, and honestly, I will tell you, I don't think I ever saw the flag until it was posted on social media after this discussion came up. I don't know if I'd ever seen the emeritus, am I saying the right flag? And I don't know, I guess I'm just mindful that I feel like what the colors represent is a better representation than what the original symbols did.
Sorry, I have an additional question. I don't know if it'd be better to ask after the amendment, but if, let's say this whole resolution, ordinance doesn't pass, resolution.
It is resolution.
Okay, sorry, I was like, I thought it was, and then, wouldn't everything kind of just stay status quo? Like, it hasn't been flying, so it just wouldn't, the green flag would stay official, but we wouldn't be flying it, correct? We would still just be flying whatever we had before.
That's my understanding.
Okay, I was just curious on that, where we kind of like with that.
That's a good point, that nothing really would change if it just declines, because this is how it's been for years anyway.
Yeah. I was just wondering.
Any other discussion on the motion to amend? Okay, would you please call roll?
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
The resolution 11-2204 has been amended as posted on 5/21/2024. We'll now take a motion to adopt.
Mr. President, I move to adopt Resolution 11/2024
Second.
as amended.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, seconded by Mr. Dixon, for resolution 11-2024, again, as amended on 5/21/2024. Any discussion?
Yes. Mr. President, a couple things. I want to thank the three former council persons and former council president for coming out in support of the flag that's been flying in our community now for over 50 years. I've stated how I feel about this. I feel that if this is passed, we're certainly losing a ripe opportunity, I think, to engage the community in a situation. Let's say we keep the flag as it is, then we just move on down the line. If we say that we want to change it, then we have a ripe opportunity to engage the community in something that would bring us together and provide an opportunity, there's that word, to put together something new that represents the community and is community-based and sort of put together by the community, if that is indeed what would happen. Because I just can't get behind a marketing tool, a corporate logo as a flag that flies in front of City Hall and represents the people. That is really, as I've stated before, the city flag represents people, not the corporate brand. And Ms. Coniston was dead on in her comments about that. I just do want to respond to something Ms. Harkar said about not seeing the flag flying, and it was simply because it's been summarily dismissed now for a few years by this government, by City Hall, and that's why you haven't seen it, and I think that's a shame, because it is our flag and it should be flying out there every single day. I don't know why it was taken away. But so the point is, I guess I've made my point, and I guess all I could hope for is just one other no vote to strike it down and move forward to either keeping the flag or bringing something different in that represents the community.
I just wanted to state, I've lived here since 2005, so it wasn't a new thing. I mean, it wasn't that I have just only lived here 2 years and this has been what's flying. This has been here for quite some time. I don't know when this flag that's currently there, I mean, I know that there was a change when the mayor was sworn in, but it was essentially the same flag that was put back up. So I don't know, and I'd be curious if anybody knows how long that flag has been flying there. So it just, that is what I think of when I think of our flag. I never saw the original one, not flying over City Hall. I never saw it, period, prior to that.
Any other comments? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
No.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harkar.
Yes.
Resolution 11-2024 has been adopted. Under second reading, we have 2 items, both to be by title only. Ordinance 32-2024, authorizing adoption of the May 2024 replacement pages to the codified ordinances of the City of Whitehall. Next is Resolution 12-2024, title only. A resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and to enter into a Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF, agreement on behalf of the City of Whitehall, Ohio, for planning, design, and construction of the 2024 sanitary storm replacement project and designated a dedicated repayment source for the loan. Under first reading, we have several items this evening. First is Ordinance 36-2024, authorizing and approving an amendment to the codified ordinances of the City of Whitehall, 161, Table of Authorized Personnel for the fiscal year 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I wish to introduce ordinance 36-2024 and suspension of all the rules. Excuse me.
Second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Heck, to introduce ordinance 36-2024 and for the suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
No. Sorry. Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harkar.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended.
Wish to introduce ordinance 36-2024.
Second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Heck, for the adoption of ordinance 36-2024. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harkar.
Yes.
Ordinance 36-2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 37-2024, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Medi-Count to administer medical billing per 143.15 of the codified ordinances of the City of Whitehall and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, wish to introduce ordinance 37-2024 and ask for suspension of all rules.
Second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Harkar, for the introduction of ordinance 37-2024 and for suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harkar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Harkar. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harkar.
Yes.
Ordinance 37-2024 has been adopted. That brings us to ordinance 38-2024, approving and making a fund transfer in the amount of $437,622.48 from unappropriated monies in the General Fund 101, the Debt Service Fund 401, and declaring an emergency. Before we move to, I think I'm going to ask Mr. Quinzel if you can touch on these as you did in our agenda meeting.
Sure. So the Auditor of State requires any bond repayments or loan repayments to be made out of our Debt Service Fund 401. We need to transfer these monies into Fund 401 to be able to pay off the debts that are coming due on June 1st. And we are trying to be very prudent in when we move funds into Fund 401 because once you put them in there, they cannot be used for any other purpose. You can't transfer them back out. So we want to make sure that we've got the exact dollar amount that we need to put in there and then pay our bills.
And to save you a little time moving forward, this holds true for 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, they are all either bond payments or loan repayments.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
wish to introduce ordinance 38, 2024, move for suspension of all rules.
I'll second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Brown, to introduce ordinance 38, 2024, and for the suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Brown, to adopt. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 38, 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 39, 2024, approving and making a fund transfer in the amount of $250,891.32 from the Police Department Tax Levy Fund 280 to the Debt Service Fund 401 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, wish to introduce ordinance 39, 2024, move suspension of all rules.
Second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Smith, to introduce ordinance 39, 2024, and for the suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Yes.
Heck, Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Smith. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Yes. Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 39, 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 40, 2024, approving and making a fund transfer in the amount of $50,866.92 from the Capital Improvement Project Fund 311 to the Debt Service Fund 401 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, wish to introduce ordinance 40, 2024, and move suspension of all rules.
I'll second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, seconded by Mr. Brown, to introduce ordinance 40, 2024, and for the suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Morrison, seconded by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 40, 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 41, 2024, and approving and making a fund transfer in the amount of $304,182.50 from various accounts in the Win Petty Fund 279 to the Debt Service Fund 401 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, wish to introduce ordinance 41, 2024, and move suspension of all rules.
Second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Smith, to introduce ordinance 41, 2024, and for suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Morrison, second by Ms. Smith. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 41, 2024 has been adopted. Are now up to ordinance 42, 2024, making and approving a fund transfer in the amount of $57,920.90 from unappropriated monies in the General Fund 101 to the Debt Service Fund 401 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, move to introduce ordinance 42, 2024, and move for suspension of all rules.
I'll second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Brown, to introduce ordinance 42, 2024, and for the suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Ordinance 42, 2024 has been adopted. Ordinance 43, 2024 will be read by title only, and it is authorizing and approving a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $40,000 from unappropriated monies in the General Fund 101 to the Building Lot Maintenance Expense Account 101.950.53,300 and declaring an emergency. Our last piece of legislation this evening is Resolution 14, 2024, levying special assessments for property maintenance at several locations within the city of Whitehall, Ohio, addresses and parcel numbers as provided within the text of this resolution, certifying such costs to the Franklin County Auditor to be assessed against such property and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Resolution 14, 2024, and move for the suspension of all rules.
Second.
There's been a motion by Ms. Smith, next seconded by Mr. Morrison, to introduce Resolution 14, 2024, and for the suspension of all rules. Is there any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Ms. Smith, seconded by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? Clerk, please call roll.
Dixon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Morrison,
Yes.
Heck,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Resolution 14, 2024 has been adopted. This is our second poll public, and once again, I invite anybody to come forward. Please have you state your name, and just so you're not talking on the same subject, this will be a different subject than if you've already been up and spoken
Oh,
before.
I was just gonna ask, what is the new flag? You know,
It's up there if you look at the
No,
resolution.
what is it? You know, what picture?
There's a
It's
picture
up
on
there.
the
It's
link.
attached.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw the resolutions up here.
It's
It's
number
on
11.
Yeah, but it doesn't show what it is.
The second page.
There's a second page.
Oh, it's just blank.
Clearly.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
This page wasn't out here.
Yeah, no, I got you. And I thought they were, so. Anybody else?
That was in 1947?
Okay, I'll now move on to Community Date Board.
Oh, I have stuff, okay. The 23rd is the last day of school for Whitehall students. On the 24th, there's the big summer kickoff at John Bishop at 5 o'clock. It's also graduation for the high school students. On the 24th, there is a town hall for the police department this Wednesday at 5:30 at New Life Church. On June 1st, from 10:30 to 12:30 at the bottom part of the Whitehall Community Park, there is something called Goats on the Go, where they'll talk about goats and how good they are for the environment and keeping everything well maintained. There'll also be baby goats there, so you should check it out. And then on June 11th, Market on the Green starts it will be more towards the front, but still by the Kelly Green. Starts at 4 o'clock, and then the splash pad opens May 25th. It will be open Tuesday through Saturday from 12 to 7. And then lastly, and I'll get more specifics, but they are having breakfast and lunch for students for the community. And that will be starting June 3rd at the school. I believe it's going to be, I know for sure at Beechwood, but I think some of the other schools, so I'll get more details on that.
Thank you.
Oh, and like the job fair and all this stuff that Mayor said.
Yeah.
The Juneteenth event is going
Yes.
to be held on the Saturday this year, is that right, on the 22nd? Okay.
Anything else for Community Date Board? Okay, I'll move on to Poll Council. Mr. Dixon.
Thank you, President Potter. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out of their lives to come in here to the council chambers and view, express, et cetera. That's always appreciated. And of course, those taking the time at home, YouTube, Facebook, to peek in and see what's going on in here. Nice to see you again, Karen. I've known Karen, she's 44 years, at least, and longer, back in high school. And Jim, thank you very much for coming in and expressing your feelings. And course, Leo Noblock, my goodness, you are Whitehall. You know, I mean, I appreciate your efforts to stand by our flag that we've had for so many years. I appreciate it. I will offer a challenge to the mayor in terms of his June 8th kickball tournament. You know, it's very easy to ask a young, strong man to join your kickball team, but if you really have the confidence in yourself and your team, you should ask an old coot like me. Because then you got a challenge on your hands. So I would make that challenge.
Oh, so are you saying you want to jump ship from your council team?
Well, not necessarily.
That's what it sounds. Sounds like you already have a defector there, Mr. President.
This isn't even 45 minutes old.
You have great confidence in your abilities on your kickball team, and then you ask a young, strong man to join. It's like, let's see how confident you
That's
are.
great.
You have the guy with the hip replacement.
You're going to do just great.
Good luck
down.
to you too.
That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, President Potter. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out this evening, for sharing all your thoughts, for just joining us in general. Thank you for everyone that's watching. I'd like to start by saying thank you again for last Saturday. The conversation was great for a new council person like myself to be able to sit in and really dive deep into, you know, how the city operates and, you know, budgets in general. So that was very helpful. Thank you very much. I'd also like to say that I formally accept the challenge, at least on behalf of myself. I'll be joining the council team for sure. Mayor, sounds like you lost your star player. So,
What? Star player meaning ringer?
Right, you have your secret
Jerry's
weapon.
the
So.
star player now.
Right, so yeah, it's gonna be a fun one for sure. The last thing I'll say is my wife is actually gonna be sad. We'll be missing the Goats on the Go event. She's been looking forward to it for a very long time, so we're not gonna be able to make it. But in any case, thank you all again.
And thank you. Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank everyone watching, and special thanks to those attending and for the input which was given. We made the decision on this. It's been discussed for several weeks, and that was what we came up with, what we felt was best for the replacement, and I have no apologies for my vote. I think it was a good decision. And also, Mr. President, the mayor stated that for this kickball thing, that it took 3 runs to win. Is that correct, man?
It does.
Then you only need 4 members. You only need 4 players.
That's bold there.
So in other words, you're saying you're going to ride, nobody come pick you up?
No, I'm saying you got 3 people on base, the 4th can kick them in. You only need 4.
We'll see you on the 8th.
I'm not sure I'll be in town, but if I am,
Bring your grandson.
I'll put a low jack on your vehicle, so.
there you go. I can bring Mace. He's busy.
There you go.
The mayor knows how he hits baseball, so.
Can we have a surrogate?
It's your team.
Anything further, sir?
No, thank you, I'm done.
Okay. Team member Heck, or
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, everybody tuning in. Thank you for everybody that came and spoke. It's nice to see faces that aren't always here. I am sorry I missed last Saturday. Thank you, Casey, for reading my questions. Sorry, there was a lot of them, but I heard some of them were answered beforehand and stuff, so that was great. Hopefully I'll be at the next one when we do it again. And that's really all I have.
okay. Ms. Smith,
Thank you, President Potter.
or Kicker Smith. Still working on the
I
titles.
don't know if that's where you want to put it. I look coordinated, but I'm not. Thank you for those watching at home and those that came in this evening. I like being at the end. I just echo my fellow council people's thoughts. I think it's awesome that everyone's super riled up about this kickball tournament. Even if I don't kick the ball, I'm going to come just to see how it all plays out.
Oh, you'll kick a ball.
Only you, Tom.
Charlie Brown.
I also really enjoyed last Saturday. I think it was great to just, I actually asked, I think, no questions because everyone else's questions were so good. So that was great to just hear them all and to hear other council people's perspectives that I might not have heard. So I really appreciated that. I look forward to this kickball tournament. That's all I have.
Ms. Sarkar.
Yes, well, I'm really excited to see how this softball tournament, we may have to form teams year-long. Sorry, softball, sorry, I can't even keep up. That's the thing I played when I was a kid, so we'll see what we can do about kickball, I guess. Yeah, I really do want to thank the mayor and everyone that came on Saturday for the budget meeting. That was really helpful to be able to see everything, ask all of the questions, and really kind of get I don't know, just be able to ask questions of those that are managing those budgets, I think is really helpful. So I also want to say I did attend the Coffee and Conversation event. Was that yesterday? Okay, that was yesterday. At the Mini Ethiopian Coffee House. So thank you to Ashaber and Salam for hosting that event. It was a pretty good turnout. People they put you on the spot a little and had some tough questions and suggestions for you. So I was really thankful for that. I know that you are planning to continue those, and I think that's a really nice opportunity for people just to get to chat one-on-one and come with their concerns and questions. And I think that is all I had, other than just thank everyone for being here and for watching.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, that'll be interesting on the 8th. I'm glad you're engaging the safety forces, especially with EMS, so they'll be on site. So should anybody have a unexpected need for them. Seriously, I think Saturday was a good working session. It was really appreciate all the different department heads coming out and making their presentations. And again, for the newer people, even folks that have been around, really kind of gave you a good down deep drill look at it. And as we go into November, we'll be much more better prepared for those discussions. So I thank you for that. And again, thank everybody for coming out this evening and those watching at home. Next week I will not be here, but because of Pro Tem, Morrison will be filling in for me. So I thank him in advance for that.
See how that goes.
I think it'll go just fine. So I've got nothing further, and having nothing further in front of this council, I will adjourn us at 8:07.
Recording.
Oh.